Hi everybody, Kaiwaza with you. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to a long overdue, another Q&A video. I still have my bowl full of questions. More people have submitted questions that I haven't even put in yet, so I'll have to do that. Plus I have enough questions that I'll probably do a separate Q&A on moody mood music and a separate Q&A on Hawaiian records or Hawaiian music because I've gotten a lot of questions about those that I'll do separate. But anyway, let's draw. I haven't looked at these questions in so long, I don't even know what's in here. So this is very like, you know, Miss Universe final question time. Like, I don't know, I don't remember what all these questions are. So let's draw it out, see what I get. First question. Favorite things about working in a coffee shop. So I do work part-time at a coffee shop 3 days a week right now, just part-time, semi-retired. But I've worked in coffee shops for a long time, since sometime in the 90s. Lots of things I like about it. Free coffee, number one, generally. I think every place I've worked, you can get all the caffeine drink, all the coffee drinks you want while you're working. You can have shots and make yourself drinks, whatever is fine. So I love that because I am sort of a caffeine addict and I do, you know, love coffee drinks and whatever. I also love that, you know, you listen to music. Usually it's barista's choice, depending where you are, you know, so you can listen to music that you like while you're working. And I like it because it's sort of like bartending. I have bartended before, which I don't enjoy as much because you're kind of responsible for whether people are coherent or have had too much. And, you know, you have to deal with people for longer periods of time. Coffee shop is nice because you can deal with people and chit chat, but they're in and out. They're not there for a long time or like you're waiting on tables or whatever. So people kind of come and go. And I also, it's nice because you feel like you're kind of at the beginning of a lot of people's day and you can help just set a nice tone for the day for them and have a nice experience at your place of business. So yeah, I enjoy that. I also like a lot of baristas for different reasons, but a lot of people that have worked in coffee shops for years, this is the same with a lot of food service. People get very jaded and bitter in a very delightful way to me. I sort of like dark humor and darkness. Baristas can be pretty bitter, you know, which I like. Favorite candle or soap scent of all time? Okay, favorite candle scent. I'm gonna have to go, there are a lot of scents that I like, but I will have to go with, for candles, the, what's the name of the place I always go? Bath and Body Works. Like, oh my God. Bath and Body Works Fresh Balsam. That was the candle that brought me to BBW in the first place because a neighbor of mine had it and I could smell it outside passing by his apartment. It was so strong and I thought it was actually Christmas trees that he had gotten like a month early. And I asked him about it when, you know, he was outside and no, it was Bath and Body Works Fresh Balsam. And since then, that's been one of my favorite candles, probably my favorite candle scent from them, which I always get every year in some incarnation. My favorite soap scent, though, I would have to go with their, the Bath & Body Works also a shower gel that's in the scent Dark Kiss. It's a retired scent or a retired favorite or whatever. It keeps coming back every so often. They keep bringing it back, so it's not like you can't get it. I don't know exactly what it is. It's sort of like amber plum and something. I don't know. But that Dark Kiss, they made it in a candle once long before I shopped there, and they've never made it into a candle since. And I wish they would because I would buy a million of them. But I love that shower gel scent, Dark Kiss. It's really, really strong and really intoxicating. One of my good friends hates it. She says whenever I've used, they have a spray in it sometimes too. Whenever I've used that, she's like, it smells like marijuana. And I hate marijuana. I hate the way marijuana smells. It's sickening to me. I don't like it. And it doesn't smell anything like marijuana to me. I don't get it. But I don't know exactly what it is, but it's sort of amberish and plumish and something kind of earthy, very sweet at the same time. Oh, I love it. Okay. Current favorite record store or place to buy records in person or online? My favorite place to buy, oh God, that's hard to say. Favorite record store place to buy records. Well, if I just picked one for record store, I would pick Ideas, Books, and Music, specifically, not the store specifically, but every month or so, they have what they call the Room of Wonders, which they open up. You have to make a reservation to go in. You have 45 minutes to shop in there, and that's it. And then the next people can come in. But it's a giant room packed full of crates of records, and everything is $1. And I have found so many easy listening records. There's often Hawaiian records that blow me away that are in there for $1 because they're selling them outside for much more than that inside the shop and at other stores. And there are some of them, I guess they just consider it so much overstock or whatever. I don't know, that you can get them for $1. So that would be my favorite place to go in person. Ideas, Books, and Music, specifically the Room of Wonders sale. Online, I don't know. I mean, I bought some things from Discogs, which has been nice just within the past couple of years because there's not bidding and all that. You just like, I want to buy it, and you get the total and you buy it. But I kind of enjoy the auctions on eBay sometimes too, and I've gotten tons of stuff on eBay, so I'm not really sure online what's my favorite place. Probably eBay, just because I feel like as a buyer, you're really, really protected. I mean, if anything goes wrong, eBay is always going to side with the buyer, not the seller. So as a buyer, I feel pretty safe getting things on eBay. You know, that's a Hawaiian record question, really. I'm going to put that for the Hawaiian one. How long have I lived in this apartment? That's a good question because I'm not exactly sure. I have lived on this street specifically since since the year 2000. So 21 years I have lived. Doesn't seem possible, but 21 years I've lived on this street. I used to live in the apartment building next door, and then I moved into this apartment, the next building to it, I think maybe 5 or 6, 7. I don't honestly know how many years ago. Time is like blurring to me. Like, how many Christmases or how many Halloweens have I been in this apartment? I guess it must be 7 or 8. I don't really know. I don't exactly know. Yeah, probably. I don't know. I hate moving more than anything. So if I find a place I like, I'll stay in it as long as I possibly can because I hate to move. Name something you don't collect but might now that you think of it. That kind of happened with postcards. I didn't start out collecting postcards or even just Hawaiian paraphernalia, ephemera. But I did start I don't totally collect it, but I did start collecting it just because I'm like, hey, it doesn't take up much room. I mean, you can keep tons of postcards and little pamphlets and things. It doesn't take up a lot of room. So, yeah. But name something that I don't collect that I might, now that I think of it. Yeah, I don't think there's, well, I wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't do it, but I do have a real attraction to old Halloween ornaments, like from my childhood, from the 60s. And older ones too. Like, I could collect like die cut. I don't know what I'd really do with them though, except just look at them myself. So I do have books of Halloween paraphernalia, collectors books that have wonderful pictures. I have like 4 or 5 of those books, so I leaf through those and I sort of carthetically live through that. So But I think it would be kind of cool to have a collection of those old Halloween costumes that you used to get in the department stores and the drugstores that we used to wear, that as kids, that came in the boxes that were really poor quality, like plastic or some sort of weird flame retardant material with the plastic masks. They were really cheap. In retrospect, not, very great, but I have a great emotional attachment to them, and I could understand somebody collecting like a closet full of old boxed Halloween costumes from the 50s and 60s. But yeah, I don't need it, but yeah, I do have an attraction to it. Okay. A couple of your favorite movies or books. Wow. Okay. Really? I could go on forever. One movie that I do bring up a lot to people that I think is a great underappreciated movie is called Dark City. It came out just before The Matrix, the first Matrix. It came out just before it, and it's a similar idea. But I was working at Borders at the time, and a bunch of us, after we closed at 11 and everybody was off, there was a midnight showing of Dark City, a new movie that we just all went to see together, about like 20 of us. I didn't know anything about it at all, nothing. I just knew it was a science fiction movie, and I was like, okay, sometimes I like science fiction, sometimes I don't. I don't usually like really futuristic sort of stuff, but I watched that movie, and when it went off the screen, everybody else was like, okay, that was cool, that was interesting. I was like, oh my God, that film is amazing. It is iconic. That film will be one of the great science fiction films in history. I'm telling you right now, like, blew my mind completely. It had everything I love. I mean, it's film noir. It's very dark. Everything is very, the imagery it has imagery also from Nosferatu. Nosferatu has the elongated body and, really dark. There's like dark trench coats these people are wearing, and everything's very elongated. And it's, I won't, give it away or whatever, but it's a story about where, aliens are controlling this city. It seems like it takes a while to figure out what's going on, but aliens are controlling this city, and every night they put everyone to sleep and they reconstruct and change the city, and they move people into different lives and inject a different memory into their heads, and nobody realizes it, but every day it's different, right? Every day is different. And this guy somehow, as I guess this happened once in a while with somebody, falls out of the loop, like somehow his shot doesn't take, or he didn't fall asleep or whatever, and he witnesses what's happening, and it's kind of his story from there on. Dark City, Kiefer Sutherland, not even like my favorite actor or anything, but oh my gosh, I love that film, and I own it. It's one of the few films I own, and I go back and I watch it several times. Another film I really, really, really loved was Bram Stoker's Dracula. I know it's Winona Ryder and Keanu Reeves, who basically both suck as actors in this film. I mean, they basically suck. But you know what? The film doesn't... I mean, Keanu Reeves is beautiful, but the film just, it doesn't necessitate them being great actors. Again, it's much truer to the actual novel of Bram Stoker's Dracula than any of the films. It has much more of the disgusting, sort of creepy elements that were in Bram Stoker's story that were kind of weeded out of most of the film adaptations. And the effects are so great. The soundtrack, I have the soundtrack. The soundtrack is amazingly creepy and beautiful at the same time. And the imagery, Dracula himself, his different images. There's just weird scenes like, blood trickling up a wall. There's so much in that film. There's so much to see. Like, you can watch it over and over again and see new things every time that you watch it. And I love that film. I mean, we all know the story, pretty much what the story is, what it's all about, like we know, but they just give it a new life that I think is much, much truer to what Bram Stoker probably actually envisioned when he was writing that. Love that film. Yeah. Okay. Books, I'm going to mention a short story that I'll mention two stories. They're both short stories, but that have really, really impacted me. One is I don't know who the actual author is. It's sort of a folk tale. There is an author though. The Fir Tree, the Little Fir Tree. Often read at Christmas time because it's about a tree that wants to become a Christmas tree, and it's his story. And I suppose there are Disneyized versions of it out there, or whatever, where it's all happy and beautiful at the end. But it's one of those stories where no, like the Little Mermaid, like the original story, you know, the fir tree is tragic. It's a tragedy. Okay, it's a shocking tragedy for children who are like crying at the end of it. And as an adult, it really moves me, that story. In its like more original form, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful lesson about appreciating where you are and what's going on right now, rather than thinking that everything in the future is going to be better, or that looking ahead, you know, you're just looking ahead, this is going to be magnificent, this is going to be awesome, this is going to be fabulous. And all along you're having these experiences and these beings and people around you that are wonderful and amazing, and you're not appreciating them because you're not thinking about them. You're not thinking about where you are. You're just like focused on this future. And sometimes when you get to that future, it's not what you thought it was. And it's too late because you've already lost everything that you could have been appreciating and could have been enjoying to get to the point where you are now, because it's the end now. You made it to the end, and there ain't no more to tell. And you didn't appreciate what you had. You didn't take the time to enjoy it, and only in retrospect did you enjoy it. I love that story. Oh, I love that story. And also there's a story that, I don't know, it doesn't really necessarily have a lesson or anything that I like, but I love it. It's Edna Ferber is the authoress who wrote Giant, that turned into the film Giant with James Dean. But it's a short story called Home Girl. I think it's online. I think you can just look up Home Girl by Edna Ferber and you can read it. But it's the way that she writes. Man, I love, you know, how some ways the way that people write stories, it can kind of tell you about them in a way, or like you can really sense things. And it's about this home girl, this girl who works in a Woolworth department store, ends up marrying this guy who has ideas of inventions and things he's going to create and things he's going to do. And it's kind of, you know, she hooks him, right? She knows what she's doing. She kind of hooks him eventually into marriage, which is what she wants. And it's kind of the story of how you begin to realize with the passage of time that, you know, what she really is, and what she really cares about. And it's, you see a very different person than you were seeing at the beginning, and the effect that she has on her husband, on their life, and etc. She keeps wanting to go into more expensive places, smaller and more expensive, moving up the social ladder into smaller and smaller spaces where he doesn't have room to do anything. And he's a tall person, and they're like too small even for him just to really live in. And she says she's one thing, you know, she always says she's a home girl. She's this girl, but it's the Edna Ferber's description of her that's just, oh, she talks about where she's wearing different hats every day, and like he never knew who he was going to dinner with because it was a different ingenue at every little, her going to the delis, and her descriptions of the delis were all these other women who weren't cooking meals, were picking up, you know, she has a real bias, like she had a real bias against, I think, slim, attractive women who were not really housekeepers and who didn't do a lot of cooking. right? Who like got food out. And I don't care one way or the other, you know, but she was, you could tell by the way that she writes in these artists, she was like in favor of the stout woman who took care of her home and provided meals for her husband and bore some children. You know, that's who she was setting as the good example. And this homegirl is everything but that. And it's really delightful to read, to me, her descriptions of this woman and of the other women and of the area and the neighborhood they live in. And like her viewpoint is so clear in the story that I really, really love to read that story every once in a while too. Edna Ferber, Homegirl. Okay, that's it. Those are some of my favorite movies and stories. And I think I should stop there. That's long enough. So that's one more Q&A. I hope you enjoyed that. Leave any comments below. I got another movie coming out, another video coming up today. I just filmed also episode 17 of The Cheap Lounge, so that'll be coming up tomorrow. So we'll see you guys later. Have a good day. Talk to you next time.